Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We're back again for another fine live show with the Euro session. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's see what the day is bringing to us today. What have we got? What's been happening in the markets? Yeah, everyone says trading is hard. Trading is difficult. Trading is so difficult. Well, it's not actually the trading that's difficult. It's getting your mind around it that's so difficult. So, who's on the show with us today? What are we talking about? Right, for those of you who don't know me, you'll know that we don't do little fancy 5-minute candles jumping around, going up and down and things like that. We're swing traders. We look at the trades, we chat about the trades, and we chat about becoming profitable in the market. Not that this trade looks very profitable, does it? We took a short on the gold. I went in a little bit too early. I did tell you guys to rather take it at 26, and I took it just before that. And it's gone into a bit of a loss drawdown, but that's fine. You know, if you look at the trade, there's a double top developing here. It has hit the 26.20, 26.30 levels that I was talking about. And it's a bit of a bounce here, just a bit of a bounce. Now, you got to look at the dollar to get the picture. And if you look at the dollar, you can clearly see that there's been a bit of a correction, not much, and sort of come back in, and it looks like it wants to continue on out from here. If anything, it'll go back and take this money at the top here. So, yeah, it could fall a bit further, but will it? That's the question. And look at the US 500. Is this a dead cat bounce? No, it's dropped down. It's gone through its support level. It's going back to retest, and it will probably continue on to the downside. I could be wrong. The market's a 50-50 game. Worst case scenario, it goes back up to take this supply of money up here, which is all the way back up 59.80. So if you're short on this, be careful. But yeah, I'm considering that more to be short than long, but like the gold. And then Bitcoin is going north. But I was waiting for this to correct back down to this 82,000 level down here. I was looking for more of a level in this area here. Morning, Bladder. Welcome. Good to see you again. I was looking for it to come back more into this demand of money, but it hasn't done that. It's kind of sort of created this flag pattern, so it'll probably fly off to the north. But the risk to reward on Bitcoin is at the moment, you're looking at about 100,000, which is everyone aiming for. And yeah, your risk is quite far down. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll take a long on that just at the moment. SA40 long, that trade is playing out. It's doing exactly what we expected it to. How long will it go long for? Yeah, maybe it'll go back up here, maybe not. Let's see how she goes. So SA top 40 is still long as we stand at the moment. I was actually thinking that the FTSE probably also go long, which it has. The SA top 40 tends to follow the FTSE quite a lot, by the way. Just in case you didn't know that, it does tend to follow it along. So it's quite early in the morning here, and sorry about the it's quite early in the morning here in comparison to everywhere else in the world. But of course, you've got the Euro session, which is going to open, and that's why we're here. On Thursdays, we open for the US session, which is the afternoon for us. Hopefully the stream's working okay, because there is a couple of warnings coming up on my system here. I don't know. Maybe it's my internet. Maybe it's the wind in Cape Town again. Let me just go and have a look over here and see if everything seems to be working here. So yeah, I don't know what the warnings are about or anything like that, but my connection has dropped from excellent to good, so could be anything, could mean anything. So if it goes off, just bear with me, we'll get it running again, or whatever the case. So not a lot of you here at the moment. Like I said, everybody complains that trading is hard, but it's not trading that's hard. It's how you handle your trading that's hard. It's how you psychologically approach the game. That's what makes it hard, and that's what everybody fails to understand. So Assumption is the mother of all evil, as we know, and the market will always lull you into that false sense of security that we always talk about. Thanks, Thomas. How's it? Thanks for telling me everything seems to be working fine. There's probably just a delay, and yeah, that's fine. We can live with a delay. There is going to be a delay here and there. Obviously, YouTube does that. The other thing that YouTube does is it doesn't allow me to edit out the beginning of the live video for about a day. It takes about a day before I can go in there and maybe just cut out that lull at the beginning, you know, when we're starting up and that sort of thing. So yeah, for the guys who are watching it, rewatching it in the first day, you're going to get the whole 9 yards. You're going to have to sit through the wait before I start the video and everything. What I try and do now is after about a day, I'll go in and just cut that piece out in the beginning. So it makes it a bit easier for people that are rewatching it. They don't have to go through that process of waiting for me to appear on the camera and that sort of thing. But yeah, that is, and I keep getting this warning on my thing here. The bitrate is, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's got something to do with my internet as it stands at the moment. Unless somebody else is downloading or something to that effect. I'm not the only one in the household with an office. Right, okay, so. Morning, Elaine. How's it going? Good to see you again. How's trading? How's it going there? Making money? We've got a really sad losing trade on the gold here at the moment, but I do believe this is going to still... I'm going to explain this trade to you. I did explain it to the members this morning. I'm going to explain why I'm quite confident on the gold and the SA40 that's going in the right direction. But unfortunately, I can't take the SA40 on the funded trader account, so this one is down. Okay, the SA40 doesn't appear on here, and I can't even find the US dollars ZAR now. So I really don't know. But okay, that account doesn't take it. So yeah, I wanted to do it there as well. Brent seems to have been continuing on long. Just be careful of the trend resistance at the top here. Could be tricky. Could be tricky. I'm going to show you guys a little trick that I use that works for picking a trade like this gold trade. Now, you'll say to me, but why did you go short so early? You know, what made you go short so early? You know, I tell you to go to the higher time frames to get your levels, right? So if you take this gold to the weekly level and you go and have a look at what it looks like on the weekly level and you take this candle out here, that's your weekly chart. Now, if you look at it on a weekly, you can clearly see the big red candle last week. The longer wick at the bottom and the shorter wick at the top. It's telling you that we should get another red candle this week. So that's what makes me kind of confident on the gold side. And then we go back to the 4-hour chart and you get these levels. You see there's another resistance level that looks like almost a double top that's developing there. So that's what makes me more confident about our gold trade, which is why I wouldn't dump it right now, and which is why my stop loss is up here. Now, one could say, but yeah, maybe you should take your trade from there. That's also a possibility. Why not? Let's see. We'll see how it goes. If it gets up onto that level there, we would take another trade anyway. From Earth to Cosmos says, hello traders and hello Rob. So hello, how's it? Welcome back. It's good to have you. Somebody asked me, how many trades can you take on the 4-hour? Now, it's all relative, guys. You know, how many trades can you take on the 4-hour? How many trades can you take on the 5 minutes? The first thing that everybody has to understand is you pay for every trade that you take. Just remember that. Every single time you take a trade, you pay the broker. So the broker wants you to take as many trades as you possibly can so that they can get paid more at the end of the day. They also charge you for holding overnight, so, you know, it's much of a muchness. All I'm saying to you is the broker wants you to pay more. So they'll promote to you that you should trade on 1-minute charts, tick charts, 5-minute charts, 15-minute charts, whatever the case. They don't care that 99% of people lose at trading on those charts. They don't give a damn that everyone's losing, because the more you lose, you know, A normal trader who's trading with cash traders would prefer for you to stay in the game, but the more money they can make out from you while you're in the game, the better. So just bear that in mind. Every trade costs you money. Now, I don't base my trading on the amount of trades that I can possibly take. I base my trading on good trades that come to me, that show themselves to me and say, well, this could be a profitable trade for you. So if I take one trade in a week that makes me $10,000, or I take 50 trades in a week and I make $1,000, which one's better? Well, clearly the one trade, because the one trade not only made me a bigger profit, but I also didn't have to pay for 50 trades. So bear that in mind when you're thinking, but how many trades can you take on a daily or a 4-hour? Yeah. Guys, we don't work on how many trades you can take. We work on how much money you can make. What you have to bear in mind is if you take this gold trade onto a 5-minute chart, you're not going to be trading on 100 points or 200 points or pips or whatever you want to call them, contracts. You got to look at it as, if you're taking this on a 5-minute chart, you'll be trading with 5, 10, 15 pips, okay, points. Whereas on a 4-hour or a day, you'll be trading with hundreds, 200s, different sizes, different gap, different level. So, you can't really compare that. And like I say, just remember, if you are trading on the lower time frames, you're paying for every trade. So keep that in mind. Morning, Matthew. Welcome. Good to have you on board again. Yeah, my system does appear to be moaning about its internet today. It's probably the wind in Cape Town. I really don't know. We'll see how the show goes this morning and see how we get on and see if everything goes according to plan. So, like I said, it's not trading that's hard. It's your psychology that's hard. Looking at losses like that on your platform can be quite painful, can be quite difficult. That's why I always say, when you're taking risk in the market, take a risk that you can sleep with, that you can relax with, that you go to bed at night and think, doesn't bother you, doesn't keep you awake, and doesn't even make you think, in fact. If you're taking losses that are keeping you awake at night, if you're taking losses that are making your heart swell up or giving you adrenaline rushes, then you're trading too big. And the psychology behind it is, when you go into a profit, you're going to jump out too fast because you're going to be nervous. You're going to be jumping in and out too quickly, and it's going to affect your psychology. So don't trade sizes that are not comfortable with your mind. In other words, with real money, when you're trading, and if $500 loss is too much for you, if you're feeling the pain, then don't trade with that size. Trade with a smaller size. Trade with a size that you're comfortable with. You're not going to win as much. This is agreed. But by the same token, once you're comfortable with a certain amount, you'll tend to get used to it, and then you'll lift it and lift it and lift it and lift it as you go. It takes time, guys. You can't get over this in one day. If you're not comfortable with losing $1,000, you shouldn't be trading $1,000, okay? Because it's going to affect your trading immensely at the end of the day. So try and be cautious about that. Trade within your means. Always trade within your means and stay comfortable. A lot of traders will tell you to get out of your comfort zone. A lot of traders will tell you, no, push the limits. But your psyche is not going to handle it. And that's the problem. You're going to make terrible mistakes with that. It normally comes with people who need to make money quickly. Where you get the psychology of, I need to make money at the end of every month. I need to make money before the end of the month. Otherwise, I'm in trouble and I need to pay my bills and that sort of thing. And then you start pushing the envelope in your trading, and that events in the opposite. You end up losing more, and it hurts. So, I always said, people said to me, what's your monthly profits or daily profits, that sort of thing. And I've always said to them, I work on an annual basis. That way, what money I made last year has to make do for next year. And then you don't have to worry month to month on what's happening. You have to worry year to year on what's happening. It does get a bit tricky when you get close to the end of the year and you haven't had a good year. But but that said, it relaxes you a bit more during the year. It also allows you to take slightly bigger risks and be more comfortable with them. You're not stressing about what's happening at the end of the month. Look, trading wasn't all. Random Code asked me, is trading your main income or do you work something else? So over the 30 years, trading has not always been my main income because I had businesses, I had other things going on the side, right? But now I've got to a point in my life where I wouldn't say trading's my main income, but investments are. So for example, everything that I've invested in over the years, remember I told you guys, every month put a bit of money into your investment account, and after 10, 20 years, you get paid back from that with the dividends and that sort of thing, right? So I would say that the main income comes from those sort of areas, whereas trading is more, in my opinion, these days, in my older days, more fun, and it's an income on top of an income, so to speak. I don't have any other job at the moment or anything like that. So, it mainly comes from trading now. It comes from investments and that sort of thing. But over the years, don't get me wrong, over the years, and in particularly in the beginning, I did have other businesses which kept me going. And, in the bad years when you don't do well trading, at least you've got that going on the side, because it really is difficult to simply sit behind a desk all of your life. But that said, I had businesses that were successful, and I had one or two that actually crashed on me and went bad. And the one thing that bailed me out when things went bad in business was, guess what? Trading, because this is the one thing that was still holding up. So this is the one thing that's held up all the years, where a couple of the other things maybe didn't. There was one or two really good businesses on the side as well, which did extremely well. But the reason I get involved in these things on the side is, you'll find it as well. If you're new to trading, you'll find that over the years, as much as you love trading, if it's the only thing that you do, it can become quite boring, because making money is actually boring when you're doing it like this. So you do tend to get yourself involved in other things. You talk to people and they say, hey, let's do this and let's do that. And you end up doing a couple of other things on the side. Now, there's been one or two times where I've actually, for example, walked away from trading completely for a few months or a year because I was busy with another project or whatever the case. There was a stage where I wanted recently, a few years back, 5 years ago, well, it was 10 years ago and I actually started with it, and it's about 5 years ago that I dumped it. I was trying to start a property investment company and business and all that type of stuff. And to do that, I had to get an estate agent's license and all kinds of rubbish, which I did. But then I found out that the industry stinks, and I walked away from it. It was horrific how they were stealing our trust accounts and all kinds of things. And I cannot have my name associated with that kind of stuff. So I left it behind. But there, while I was doing that, I was trading. So that really, it doesn't matter. So yeah, you can do it for a living on your own if you're capable, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I say, what gets you into other things is you're dealing with people, you get bored and that sort of thing. Yeah, I would like to be a full-time trader and get bored with trading. No, that's cool. No, totally. That's exactly I've always been a kind of a full-time trader, and yeah, the only reason you get involved in other stuff is, I almost swore there, but is because you get bored and you do other things. And particularly if you have a good year and you make tons of money, and then you've got this money burning a hole in your pockets, you can do one or two things with it. You can trade with it, you can invest it, or somebody comes along with this great business venture and you get involved in it. It just depends what you do with it at the end of the day and how you go about it. Through the 30 years, I've had a number of businesses on the side just for fun. I owned parts stores, motor parts stores, sold those for a huge profit. And then I also owned a few computer stores at one time, and but those actually didn't do so well. Those I had to shut the doors. It was actually quite crappy. Like I say, I tried the property investment company, but I decided not to go forward with it because of the actual, yeah, the bad taste that left in my mouth when seeing people stealing like that was just too much for me. What else has there been on the side? Sure. I think I had one or two online companies, but nothing serious, guys. Mostly trading, mostly just trading. So yeah, I'm a full-time trader. Hello, Kokoro. Morning, all. Apologies for my absence. Had to go to the Maldives. Well, you don't have to apologize to going to the Maldives, man. That's flippin' excellent. Enjoy. Do you know a good indicator for support and resistance on TradingView? I don't use any indicators to give me my support and resistance. Okay, I did try one on MetaTrader 5. Can't remember what it was called. And what it does, and the TradingView ones will do the same, okay, is you put these automated things in that give you your support and resistance, so you don't have to sit drawing it in, right? And what it actually does is it just puts them all over the place. You just got so many lines on your chart that it drives you insane. Don't do it. Just put them in yourself. It's much simpler and much easier. Okay, don't go and get these things that put them in for you. I know. Look, if you're looking for indicators, I think TradingView's probably got the most and the best. There's so many indicators. I mean, they got millions and millions of indicators, and all you got to do is probably type in support and support and resistance levels and resistance channels and all these things. V2 indicate, they're all here, guys. But it's up to you. Test them out, see for yourself if you like them. But I don't like too much rubbish on my charts, eh? Hi, Brett. Morning from New Zealand. It's 9:15 in the evening here. Well, would you believe it's 9:45 in the morning here? Didn't think you have time for a live show. Thanks for sharing your philosophy and psychology and trading with others. Absolute pleasure, Brett. I'm glad you're here in the evening. I tell you what, the time differences make it really interesting, to be quite honest with you. Okay, Dib, hey Rob, basic question to you. I get confused while drawing zones of liquidity. Please help me clear my doubts. Okay, so you are talking about areas like support and resistance. You're talking about areas like supply and demand. And I'll just show you on this gold chart just to make it a little bit simpler for you. So look, support and resistance, I think, do you understand support and resistance quite well? Those are areas of liquidity. Why are they areas of liquidity? Because that's where the price goes. It's like a magnet. It goes there, it comes back, goes there, comes back. There's clearly some liquidity lying there. It makes sense, okay? So obviously there's orders lying in that area because every other trader in the world, like I've said to you guys, the market's made up of buyers and sellers, not squiggly lines. And every other buyer and seller in the world is seeing what you're seeing, and they're putting their orders in those areas, okay? Their stop losses or orders or whatever it might be, which is why you get the highs and the lows. But areas of liquidity, for example, you might want a demand or a supply area. Now, here's a supply area, for example, over here. Why is that? Why would have that been? You can't use it anymore because, I mean, we're so far down and gone. But why would that have been an area of supply of money? Simple, really, because you see these big red candles that dropped off behind that little green one. There's 1, 2, 3 decent red candles behind it and probably a few others. That gives you an area where there's probably some liquidity that was lying there. Did that work out? No, because this price came back up here and then dropped off immediately. It didn't go back and fetch the liquidity quite, but it could have. Also, fair value gaps. It actually went back into the fair value gap here. Fair value gaps means there's an area of money lying in this area, and that normally goes back and picks up that as well. It's an area of liquidity. It's an area where lots and lots and lots of orders are lying. So if you want to know more about supply and demand, go back and watch one of my supply and demand videos. And obviously, if you want to know more about putting in support and resistance in their position, then just drop back and watch one of my support and any of my videos, actually, because I actually do show you support and resistance in all of those videos and how to draw the lines in. But liquidity is basically where the guys put, where there's some orders left and you're going to go and pick it up. It might be from the pros, it might be from the retailers. And it's not an algorithm hunting out your stop losses. No, it's human beings looking for liquidity, just like you are in the market. Watching you from Sydney Airport heading to Wellington while trading. Wow, that's, that's so cool, man. Enjoy the trip. Enjoy the trip. Good morning. Are you from SA? Yes, I live in Cape Town. I live in Cape Town. Hey, Rob, I heard you mention a recent video with regard to the correlation between the US dollar index and gold. Can you go over that again, please? Yes, I will. Let's go over that now quickly. If you look at gold, there's gold and there's the dollar, right? You see how the dollar has started to correct a bit. And this is just a quick one, and look at gold doing exactly the same in the opposite direction, okay? That kind of makes sense. A bit like the euro US dollar is doing the similar thing in the opposite direction to the dollar, okay? But it's correlated to gold because if I look at the funded trader account and we go here, look what it's called. It's called gold against US dollar, right? And that's basically what this is. It's gold is based on the US dollar. So whatever the US dollar does, gold will do because it's valued in US dollars, right? So the value of the gold is valued. It won't be precise. It won't be, you can't draw a chart over it and it won't be like an exact line because gold does do its own thing and the dollar does do its own thing as well. But they are correlated because the gold price that you see is valued in dollar. So if the dollar changes value, the gold changes value. But people do buy gold and it does change the value of the gold in that sense. And people do sell the dollar and it changes the value of the dollar in that sense. So the line won't be exact, but you do get a correlation between the two because of the value between the gold and the dollar. It's priced in dollar. So that's going to affect your gold price just like anything else. And it's heavily correlated because it's a commodity. So I hope that kind of explains that a little bit for you, Matthew. For new traders out there, found a crypto exchange that now allows trading on token Z stocks and commodities, low leverage and spreads, BTCC exchange. Okay. But when there are multiple fair value gaps, how do I know which one will work? Okay, so here's the thing. We don't trade fair value gaps as such. Fair value gaps are like waiting for the stars to align on the left before you take a trade, okay? We keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate your trading. Don't put too many things into your trading that are going to confuse you, right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to look at your trades and you're going to say, oh, let's look at that line, let's look at that line, let's look at that line, let's look at that, and there's a fair value gap, and there's a supply, and then eventually you're not going to take the trade because there's just too many factors in the market. Any trade that you take will have an opposing view. That's why we have buyers and sellers in the market. So be careful of playing into that. So the only reason I show you fair value gaps, and they're not 100%, guys. They are not 100%. You cannot look at a fair value gap and say, oh, that's definitely a trade. It's not one of those types of things. Whereas you can look at a resistance, you can look at a support, and you can nail a trade. A fair value gap is like, you know what? If I see a fair value gap, that might be an area of interest. That might be an area where something might happen. That's a fair value gap, okay? I know there's other concepts out there. I think ICT is one of them that say, oh, fair value gap, and they stamp it all the time. You know, it wasn't even a thing in the markets in the old days. So, you know, I bring it up because it is an area that you can look for. but don't use it as a serious, don't base your trading system on fair value gaps. You're making a mistake. Base your trading system on something simple like price action, support and resistance, trend, support and resistance, supply and demand is also pretty good. Sorry, pretty good place to look. Fair value gaps, I just put them in there as a little bit of extra. Okay, like for example, on this gold, you know, there's lots of gaps. There's tons of gaps. I mean, how do you know which one's going to work? That you're quite right. How do you know which one's going to work? You don't. So they're there. Just all you got to do is take note that they are there. That's all. Just like, oh, there's a gap. Okay, let's just keep an eye on that and see what happens. Because if I was to tell you, for example, okay, let's go back to the SA40. If I was to tell you, okay, let's take a long trade out of this support area. Actually, it's actually a demand area and a support area, okay, because there's a big demand of money here. Look at that, all the big green candles behind it. So you got everything going for you to take a trade from here. Take this long trade. So we take this long trade. If I was to tell you to go and look all the way up here and look for all the little fair value gaps and supply levels and such, you're probably not going to take the trade, or you're going to get out of the trade really early. So just be careful of doing that. Just all you do, just trade off the support, trade off the resistance, maybe trade off a supply and trade off a demand, but don't start pushing further than that. Okay, especially in the beginning. Once you know everything and you know all the systems and whatnot, you can start glancing at them from the side, looking at the patterns and that sort of thing. But don't over confuse your brain, because you're just going to start working against yourself. For example, there's two traders sitting in the room, and they've both got an opposing view on this trade. One says we need to go short, the other one says we need to go long. And you have a long discussion about why you should go long, and the other guy has a long discussion about why you should go short. And at the end of the day, you come to the conclusion we need to go long, but you have to really beat it out. But if you start doing that without the other trader in your room, if you start doing that to yourself, you're probably going to stop trading, because you can't figure it out anymore. You're just going to confuse the hell out of yourself. So don't put too much into your trading in the beginning. I use this trend support, trend resistance. That's very important. I've always used that all my life. I use the main support, main resistance, which we get from the daily levels. We always use that. Okay. I just add in supply and demand levels to see what's going on, and I just glance at what is a fair value gap. You know, you just sort of see it there and use it based on that. Yeah, Japan 225. No, don't feel daft, Matthew. That's absolutely fine. That's a very good question. You know, what I find in the world is you get questions that are relevant like that, and sometimes you get like really crazy questions, but your questions are generally quite sane. The Nikkei graph, yes, the Nikkei is known as the JAP 225. For example, here it's known as the Nikkei on this particular chart, and on the funded trader account, guess what it's known as, guys? It's known as the JAP 225 over here. So this one's the JAP 225. Okay, that's the JAP 225, and that's on the funded trader account. And by the way, guys, that's funded trader markets. Yeah, funded. Our account is funded trader markets, right? Funded trader markets. Yeah, that's our funded trader markets account. Anybody wants one? Link in the description. Okay, there we go. So on this one, it's known as the Nikkei. Now, I was actually looking at this morning, and actually pretty sure I was calling it short. Yep, sell. Now, you might ask, why am I calling it a sell? Let's just make it a little bit more interesting here, shall we? Okay. I know that it's difficult to see the red and the green candles now, but what you're looking at here is the pattern. What have we got here? Quite a big pattern. I'm just going to take this out. So here's the pattern, guys. This is your pattern. And this is what we drew in as a trend support. Nice long trend support. But what I saw on the Nikkei is I'm not too worried about the main trend resistance and the main trend support at the moment. because this is now sitting pretty much in the middle. But what it did do is it broke structure. It broke through this trend support. So what I'm looking at is this going back to retest what was trend support and then going short. That was my feeling on it, because it broke this trend support. It actually broke through it. And that's what gave me the indication that this might be becoming a sell. Now, what else would make me think that the Nikkei might become a sell besides this nasty old trend support here? What else would make me think that this might become a trend to the downside? What else would make me think that is trades like the US 500 going back to retest. That might go short. Trades like the Dow Jones falling down here. Trades like the France 40 that are in support. Trades like the DAX, which have got a huge head and shoulders developing. There's just a few things in the market that are saying to me, Rob, you know what? This market wants to drop. So just be very careful of the drops. The other thing you can do is like what I did with the gold just now. You see we're in the gold here saying, Rob, why are you holding this short? You're in a big loss. And I showed everybody earlier what we did. When I go to the weekly chart, go and have a look on the weekly chart, what's happening with gold. Okay, this you would do probably on a Sunday or a Saturday when the markets are closed. And if you look at the weekly chart, what's happening with gold? Because last week we weren't sure which way we're going to go with gold. It's a bit iffy. What's my choice for gold? And my choice for gold this week is to the short side. And the reason for that, this is a weekly chart. There's a week with a red candle. The week before was a turnaround candle. Then we got the big red candle last week with a short little goodie on the top and a long tail at the bottom, right? That tells you that this week should, in all probability, go short. It's a probability, it's 50-50, but it looks like it wants to go short. So then I go back to my normal trading week with a view on gold that it should be short this week. And that's why I'm quite confidently holding on to those trades, right? Thinking, well, it should still go short. Then I see on the day, it's actually got a bit of a double top there. So these are things that you can do to sort of, if you're not sure which way something's going to go, because you're coming towards the end of the week and you're thinking, oh, where's gold going to go now? You know, because we were looking at it last week. You're thinking, is it going to turn? What's it going to do? You know, just go and have a look at the higher time frame, the week, the month, whatever, and just get a picture for yourself of what does it look like in the week? And then for that week, you can like, okay, this is how I'm going to look at that product. And if I see a trade, then I'm going to go for it based on that sort of level. US 500, for example, if you take this to a weekly chart, okay, what have you got? It's not 100%, but it is a red candle and it's only halfway down. So there's not a lot telling you to go short this week, but there's a good possibility that you're going to get another red candle down to this level here. And why not pick a short this week? So, you know, you're kind of against the trend, but you also got to look at it from another perspective. So if you look at the higher time frame, if you trade top down, you'll get a lot of perspective in the market. It just gives you perspective. You're sort of looking at the perspective of what's actually happening with this product. Is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? Where's it going to go? You know, when you're unsure and you're looking at your time frame, just go up a couple of time frames and see what it looks like there. And it just gives you a big picture. So that's how I would take my weekend research. And it doesn't take long. My weekend research would be on the really high time frame, just to see which way do the markets look like they want to go, which way does that product look like it wants to go, and then it gives me some direction on my trading. Okay. So Nikkei, sorry Matthew, yeah, back to the Nikkei. Definitely, I'm looking more to the short side on the Nikkei. I mean, once again, I think I did it here as well. You take it to the week. You go and have a look at what happened on the weekly chart. This is what you got last week. It was more long, and I was actually feeling long on this, even though I got this red candle, but the tail to the upside was longer. So I thought, perhaps we'll get a long trade. But the week before, there was a hammer here. I'm just wondering what kind of candle we're going to get next. So it might be undecided, but when I see this big support through here, that does kind of tell me that there's a good possibility that it's going to go to the short side, and it will follow the other markets as well. So I'm just getting this picture where it's breaking through. So be careful taking a long just yet. If it breaks back through this trend support, then you could be probably looking at a decent long trade as well. Okay, FTSE coming good for a long. Of course it is, Kokoro. Do you know why? Because I was long on that trade and it took out my stop loss. That's why it's coming good for a long now. Yeah, no, totally. I got taken out of this one, but yeah, I think it's a nice long trade coming up. I think it looks good. I'm just being a little bit cautious at the moment on the indexes with the long trades, but yeah, FTSE looks like a long trade, totally. Brett, you're asking, do you hold all or just some of your trades longer than a week? Actually, Brett, sorry, I tend not to hold trades over a weekend. I'll hold a currency. I'll even sometimes take a chance on a commodity, but indexes, if I'm long on an index, I prefer not to hold it over a weekend. I prefer to dump it and re-enter on a Monday. If I'm short on an index, I'll take a chance, because there's not much in the world that can be so euphoric and positive that you're going to wake up on a Monday morning and the markets are going to be sky high. But there is a lot that can go wrong to make it go short and crash. So if I'm long, for example, this US 500, if I was long on the weekend and I went into the weekend, I wouldn't want to come out on the weekend and see that. So I prefer to like trade out of them if they're long. And then if I'm short on a product and it's looking good, yeah, I'll hold it. I don't mind. That's fine. So most of my trades I get out of. Most of my trades I close on Friday afternoon. In fact, on Friday afternoon, I closed quite a number of trades. Brent was one of them. Okay, last week, when was it? When did I have the Bitcoin? I can't remember. But there was a number of trades on Friday that I was in, and Euro JPY, I closed out that short on Friday. That got closed out. You see it was dropping on Friday. I got out of the trade, small profit. I didn't reach my target profit targets, but I just, Friday afternoon, I'm not going to sit in the trades for no reason. If I really love a trade and I really think, ooh, this looks great, then I'll sit in it. Then I'll sit in it for the weekend. But if I don't love a trade, and for example, on commodities, long or short doesn't make any difference. Try and get out on the Friday afternoon. Don't try and sit in on the weekend. What I will sit in on the weekend, though, I'll take a chance on a Forex trade sometimes, and I will take I'll always take a chance on a short on an index. But a long, no. Long, I'll get out. And if I need to, I'll get back in on Monday morning, because you can't control your stop loss over a weekend. So it's a problem. Okay, the random coding channel. What's the difference between support and resistance and supply and demand? I'll get to that now. Ouch, Dub, you entered a short on Bitcoin. Okay, we'll get to that now too. All right. What's the difference between support and resistance and supply and demand? Okay, so support and resistance is the area of highs is your resistance, and the area of lows is your support. And you take your main areas of support and resistance, say off of the, let's use the FTSE as an example. You go to the day chart. Okay, you bring it in, you put it on a line chart, and then, okay, so you see here where the highs, the closing prices, the highs. There's at least 3 times that it gets in there, 4 times actually. There's a high, there's a high, there's a high, there's a high. It's a top, right? That's resistance. That's an area of resistance where the market gets there, it comes back, gets there, comes back, gets there, comes back. It's like a magnet. It goes there all the time. That's an area where it doesn't want to get past. That's an area where people are selling because they think the price has run hard enough. They want to sell it back. Area of support is an area at the bottom, okay? You don't have to go all the way to the bottom. You're looking for bottoms that are close by. A magnet where it goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up. It needs to hit 3 or 4 times, 3 times minimum. Then you've got an area of support. It's an area where people in the market, lots of human beings, don't see it as lines. Human beings are in the market buying, buying, buying. Now you know that there's an area of resistance. There's an area of support. There's an area where people are buying all the time. There's an area where people are selling all the time. And those areas are like magnets. It goes to those areas. So that's support and resistance. So trading on a chart is very much, it's trading on a high probability. In other words, on a high probability that's going to do the same thing that it did last time or the time before and the time before that. So you're trying to replay what the market does. So you've seen it hit those areas, and you know that every time it gets to that price, it should probably have some orders there, and it should probably take it to the upside. But an area of supply and demand that we don't take off the higher time frame, that we take off our normal time frame. Sorry, that's 45 minutes. Let's go to the 4-hour. And then what you look for there is it's an area of supply. Why is that? Why do we say there's an area of supply or an area of demand? I'm just going to look for a better picture for you so that you can understand what I'm talking about and why we say that, because you need to get a better picture so that you understand it a little bit clearer. So for example, okay, yeah, that was actually a good one, but there's another good one here. Okay, this is actually a very good one on gold. There we go. So this is an area of supply. Now, it's not a resistance area as such, but there is a resistance above it that we could put in there. So it's very much confluence, that they're both very much in the same area. But why do we call this an area where there's a lot of money lying? It's orders. There's all orders lying there. That's why we call it supply. There's orders lying in there, right? Why do we think that? Because if you look, there was a green candle there, and then there was a huge red candle, and then another red candle, another red candle. So there's a lot of money that's pushed the price down. Lots of money that's pushed this price down. That and the belief in the market for a supply level is that there's some money left over, some orders left over at that area because it pushed the price down so hard, so quickly. And that's where that comes from. So we add supply and demand into our trading as a sort of confluence, as an extra. You can trade with it on its own if you want to, but you don't need to. But it is there. And then you know that there should be some money left over there. Then what it'll do, generally, 8 times out of 10, it'll do exactly what it's done here. It'll go back to fetch that money. The price, it'll run out of, see all the money's pushed it down, and then it's run out and the buyers have come back in. So now the price is going back to fetch that money. And it fetches that money that's lying there. When it reaches this area, there should be some money left over, some orders left over, which in all likelihood will push it back down again. Because there's money here still pushing it down. That's what supply is. And demand is just, it's just a name, is the same thing at the bottom. Same one. If you get a red candle and a bunch of green candles, there'll be some money left lying down in this 2580 area. But it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So the bigger the candles, the more money that might be available there. The resistance and the support are stronger because they're main levels. The supply and demand are normally just weaker levels in the middle where there was some orders, and it's going back to take that money, and it'll probably give you a trade to the opposite side. That's what your difference is between supply and demand and support and resistance. We mainly trade with support and resistance. We use supply and demand as a bit of confluence and areas to trade in between the support and resistance that we pick up from the daily and the weekly charts. And then we use a bit of FEG in between as well, just to see what's going on. We use trend support, trend resistance in the markets as well. Try and go and watch all the videos that I've put out so that you get a better picture of that, more understanding. My take on the BTC chart, I did say earlier that I don't think I'm going to get back into BTC at the moment, because as we were talking about supply and demand, now this is a demand level. They call it demand because it's on the other side. That's all. It's nothing serious. It's just the supply and demand. It's just an area where there's a whole bunch of orders waiting. Why do I say there's orders waiting here again? Big green candles moving up. It hasn't come back and taken these orders yet. So when I got stopped out for a profit, it was a trailing stop. We bought in here. It went up. We trailed the stop up to 91,000, took us out. Why didn't I get back into the trade? Well, it's simple, really, because I was expecting it to come down and take these orders down here at 82,000. So I'm still hoping that it will do that. But if I see this looks more like a flag pattern that's developing, or a pennant, and there's normally resolved to the upside, so that I'm kind of getting doubtful that it will come down and take this money, but it would be nice if it did. I wouldn't short it though, because you are shorting against the trend. It's not a counter trade, because a counter trade is only valid if it breaks the structure, if it breaks the trend. It hasn't done that, guys. This is still very bullish, very strong to the upside. Very good possibility that Bitcoin's going to take you to 100,000, because they all want to get to 100. Round figures are simple. You see these figures on the right here? When you see round figures, those are important. 90,000, 100,000, 95,000, 85,000, 80,000. Those are so important. Round figures. And then all the figures in between, 82, 84, 86, 88. Really important figures, okay? Human psyche likes round figures. Learn this, guys. Learn this. It's not charts. There are human beings trading the markets. Human beings. And human psyche is what makes the difference in the markets. Human beings look for round numbers. Not charts. Human beings look for round numbers. People place their orders. They go 92,000. They don't go 91,889.356. Human beings don't do that. Okay? They only do that if they want to sell you something $99.99 to make you think it's $99 instead of $100. But when we're doing something like this, we tend to go, I'll put my orders in at 92,000. Round figures. Round figures are really important, okay? So you're looking for orders, they'll probably be around the round figure area. Bitcoin is probably going to look for 100,000. It wants to, it's trying to, but it may be affected by the rest of the markets as well, and it may correct. And I was actually really hoping that it would correct down to the 82,000 level so that I could buy again and get some more dosh out of it. But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see how that goes. See if we get anything from it. Yes, Bobby's here. Rob, good morning. How's it, dude? Welcome. And yes, Bladu, there will be a big sell-off at the 100K. Maybe. Be careful. Don't assume. Remember, assumption is the mother of all evil, eh? And the market will lull you into a false sense of security. So, you know, you're gonna look for that 100,000, and you're gonna think we're gonna get a big sell-off. And I would think the same. 100,000, it's gonna come down big time. But just imagine the orders if it breaks through. Just imagine what happens if it breaks through. Be very careful of that. Before you take the short at 100,000, wait for it just to break structure, and then you can go for it. Yes, the FTSE was ready to trade long. Yeah, FTSE is ready to trade long. You can actually take a long as we stand. Let me just see though, because I'm just a bit wary of the US 500, what it's going to do. You know, if you were trading the FTSE on its own, if you're trading what you see, take a long trade. That's fine. Just watch out for this trend resistance up here, which is at about 81. There might be a bit of a risk reward problem here. About 82. Just watch out for that. But further than that, yeah, it's a long trade at the moment if you want to take that trade. I'm just being cautious with the FTSE because I'm not sure of the US 500. I'm a little bit concerned with the US 500. Let's just do something with the FTSE quickly. Let's just take it to the day. It looks good on the day as well. Looks excellent on the day. Probably take a long trade on the FTSE and get away with it. It looks like it wants to go that direction. So, like I say, just keep your eyes on the rest of the market. Just make sure that it doesn't crash it down. I just got a feeling that the US 500 wants to correct a little bit further. It might not, but just get that. It's in my bones, just get that feeling. And gold as well. Just get that feeling it needs to correct. It's not finished. Not in the slightest. And that said, I mean, I'm long on the SA40, which is basically the similar, that follows the FTSE quite strongly. So, yeah, I think you can get along on the FTSE if you want a long trade. We take a long on the FTSE. Where are we going to put your stop loss? You're going to have to put your stop loss down at 79.80. It's quite far away. And then you're going to target 83.60. Yeah, Euro CPI news coming out later. As you guys know, I don't hang my hat on the news. It's not my thing anymore. Used to be, but not anymore. But yeah, that is a good point. The CPI news will affect it. It will affect it one way or the other. If you want to wait for that to play out, you can. There's always that. Nothing wrong with waiting for that to play out before you jump in and it goes pear-shaped. See what I'm looking at here on the FTSE for you guys is just this level here. Yeah, it's not very far away from your entry, and it could be tricky. What you could get is a bit of it hits the resistance and comes down again, and that is basically it's like at 81.60. You might find just before the news it'll push to 81.60 and then it'll come down. So yeah, your risk to reward's not great. Just be careful on that one. It's like this SA40 as well. You gotta proceed with caution, let's say. Not my happiest trade, but looks positive. It looks positive. Funded trader accounts isn't doing so great still. The gold trade is pushing it down today, which really doesn't bode well for it. I wanted to trade the SA40 here, but I can't. It doesn't exist. But this trade is $75 down. Like I said, we're keeping this trade open with a view, because we believe gold is going to be short this week. So just got to see what happens and see how that goes. Okay, if you're not a funded trader and you want funded trading, you can go to these guys. They're pretty good to give you offer discounts and whatnot. Funded trader markets. The link is in the description if you want one. Okay. So that was a FTSE. The DAX is messing around, guys, and I'm really looking at the DAX and thinking, where's this guy going? This looks like a head and shoulders to me. Let's put it on a line chart. Look at that. There's a shoulder, there's a head, there's a shoulder. It hasn't broken the shoulder. I'm not happy with these markets as I'm looking at them right now. They're going to have to show me something else. They're not looking long. They're just not giving me that long feeling. Euro, US dollar. Look at this. That's such a steep angle. And, this. I know that the DXY is correcting slightly, but it also looks like it wants to continue on to the upside. So US dollar ZAR has corrected a bit. suppose that also has a lot to play into this SA40, but look at this. It's created a left shoulder and a head. Are we going to get another shoulder? Could do. It might go back up here, come around and give us another shoulder. In that case, then we get a change in the market, a big change in the market. Hi everyone. Hi Carl. Gold is going up. Carl, as you know, I'm short on gold. And I showed everybody why I'm short on gold. And maybe you weren't here earlier, Carl, but you have to look at this picture. And I showed everybody how you look at this picture, why we're staying in it. Why are we staying in the gold? It's because I take it from the higher time frame. If you go to the weekly time frame, there's your short. Longer candle on the bottom, shorter candle on the top, big red candle the week before. Probably another red candle this week. On the weekly chart, gold is short. So that's what I'm looking at. Gold looks more short than long as we stand at the moment. So while it looks like it's going long, there's a double top, boom, boom, right there. There's a resistance right there, boom, boom. Should correct, should come down. It's not going to do it just yet. We'll have to wait for the opening of the other markets, see what's going to happen later on in the day. But if I look at this, most certainly looks like it's still going to go short. So Carl, don't go long on gold just yet. Well, you can. I mean, I'm not stopping you, obviously. But just my thoughts on the matter is, should continue on short. There's something else that you guys have got to look at before you look at anything on gold, and that is this. Is it something you're missing? Look at where this is. This is so much in its structure, and that's a trend resistance. If it stays in that trend, it's going to follow my blue line down. So, yeah, gold is still short. I'm not getting out of it just yet, staying in that trade. I'm a bit more worried about my SA40 trade, actually, because that, for me, concerns me, because if I look at the US dollar, South African rand, this one, if it starts to do this correction thing, is going to give me something opposite here. And that does concern me. What concerns me as well is this trend down here. But for the time being, the trade is fine. I was kind of hoping it will go a little bit higher, and I'm wondering if I shouldn't just put my stop loss at break even. And yeah, I don't like this trade anymore. It's bugging me. I'm just going to put my stop loss at break even. Screw it. That's it. End of story. That's SA40 stop loss at break even. That's better. I don't want to preempt anything there. I'm not happy with it. It's a great trade when I took it, but now I'm losing confidence in it. So there we go. Okay. Can't lose anything on the SA40. That's fine. Okay, Coral. Yeah, no, that's that's my point on it. Everything is looking a bit iffy. Everything is looking a bit short. I'm not comfortable taking long trades on these indexes at the moment. That's why I just looked at the SA40 trade and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, it's fine. Even the FTSE, it's fine, but it's just not looking. It's great, but it's not looking great. So watch out for those trades. Brent is starting to turn around again. I don't know if it's got something to do with this trend, but it's starting to show a red candle again. Aussie dollar, US dollar. Somebody asked me earlier, should I take a long? And I mean, in the comments, I said it kind of looks long, but if I look at it now, I'm not comfortable with a long trade on it either. I would say it's kind of still in the support, and there's a good chance at continuation. It hasn't really broken its structure. It needs to go above that last high. Then we can talk about longs again on the Aussie dollar, US dollar. So I would say leave it as short for now. Don't get overconfident with that. Yep. Who said to me trading is hard? Trading is not hard. It's your psychology that's hard. It's the way you look at the markets that's hard. Yeah, I don't know if that chap is here who asked me how many trades you can take on an H4. But yeah, like I said, it's not about how many trades you take. It's it's all relative. I mean, trades cost you money, and the lower time frames cost you to losing trades, and you take many more trades. That's all. It's just the gap, the distance in the trades, the size of the trades that are making all the difference. Yeah, so the BTC trade, yeah, I don't know, guys. I wouldn't go short on it just yet. I don't think so. And even the long trade, it's going to go to 100,000, and then we'll see what it does from there. US dollar CAD, yeah, biggie. Here's the biggie. Okay, so this one is correcting slightly at the moment because the markets are jumping around a little bit. But here's a level that we were talking about earlier, a demand level right here. See this? There's some money lying here. And it looks like it's taking that money. So it looks to me like it's going to bounce out of this area and go back up again. So just be careful of that, guys. If you're going short, US dollar CAD, just be very careful. See there's money lying here. It's come back to take that money. And you see how it's stopped dead there. It's actually stopped dead right on this point. It's taking those orders. And it's going to go back the other way again. So just be very careful of shorting US dollar CAD simply because it looks expensive, like in the supermarket mentality. That's not what we do, guys. That's not how it works. So we passed 7,000 subscribers, by the way. Yeah, we've done really well with the channel. The channel's grown to new heights. So our next target has to be 10,000, don't you think? I think we're heading on to a good point now. Heading off to a good area. So this has grown quite nicely, this channel. I wasn't expecting that. It's really great. Really happy to see that. So there's a lot of people out there that are getting a lot of assistance and help in the markets. And that's what's important. The guys are learning to trade, which is important. So leaving orders in the markets is another thing that came up. Do you leave an order in the market? Do you put an order in, go away and leave it there? A lot of guys do that. A lot of guys look at it and say, I'm going to put an order in at that level. And then you leave an order in there. Now, just remember, if you put an order in the market, whether it's an order or a stop loss or whatever the case, it's an order in the market that's there to be taken. So if you see the orders in the market, like especially on MT5, if you go into MT5, you can see all the orders in the market if you're trading. And you can look for those orders and you can look for those prices. Yeah, it kind of, when you talk about traders coming and taking out your stop loss or coming and taking out your order, your orders will get hunted out because they're there. If you put orders in the market, it's like sending an email to the rest of the market and saying, I'm prepared to pay 1.41500 for your US Canadian dollar. Okay. And I'm putting an order in there to pay for it. And someone out there who wants to make a profit will be like, well, I'm quite prepared to take your order at that level. So just remember, if you're leaving orders in the market, you're advertising what you're prepared to pay. Okay. And someone's going to come out there and grab it. Well, the market's going to come and grab your order. And then also the other thing, circumstances might change. So if you leave an order in the market and circumstances change, or there's a knee-jerk reaction and a bounce or whatever the case, your order might get taken out and it might go against you. So watch out for that as well. Watch out for those types of things. Yeah, I see the streamline isn't as strong as it usually is. It's a little bit weaker today. I don't know what that is, but it is working. Morning, David. Welcome. Good to see you again. Good to have you back on board and trading. So I think it was Dib that asked earlier, who asked me about the FEGs and that sort of thing. Yeah, but when there are multiple FEGs, I don't know which one, and the difference between support and resistance and that sort of thing. What you're going to find in the markets is everyone has a winning system. So the market's made up of buyers and it's made up of sellers, and every buyer and seller has got a winning system. And as I said to you earlier, if you put two traders in the same room, they'll come up with opposing views as to why a trade would be a buy or why a trade would be a sell. And there'll be some discussion around that. And that's because there are so many systems in the market and everybody believes they've got a winning system. And there's so many different things that you can add into your trading. And you can really, really over confuse your trading and get yourself into a complete tizzle as to whether you should buy or sell. Because if you put too many indicators in there, you start working against yourself. So you start becoming like two traders who oppose each other, thinking, well, I think it's going to go long. I think it's going to go short. And there's always a reason why it'll go the other way. There's always a reason for it. So be very careful of getting involved in that sort of thing and putting far too many indicators onto your chart. And then somebody asked me earlier, is there an indicator or something on TradingView that will draw in your support and resistance for your calculator? Yes, there's lots, but don't do it yourself because it's going to put too many in too many different places and it's simply going to confuse you and it's not going to do you any good. Wow, Tesla's another 5.6% up. Look at that, eh? This Tesla has really done well. Tesla surges, yeah, sure. Look at that. That's going to affect the markets. Yeah, we've got NVIDIA results coming out as well, guys. I see the Oaks are a little bit tentative on it. But for those of you who invest, and for those of you who want to invest and you're in South Africa, like me, I've left a link to Easy Equities in the description there. I don't get anything for it, but it's just a place where you can go and invest. It's a long-term investment. You can buy companies all over the world, American markets, English markets, African market, whatever you want, and then just leave your investment there and get paid for it at the end of the day. So yeah, I just thought if you guys need something that's cheap and it's reliable, that's pretty good. So anyway, yeah, NVIDIA is supposed to announce results. So yeah, they're not looking too positive at the moment. Everybody's a little bit tentative, it looks like. We shall see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I don't even look at the shares anymore because when I buy a share, I simply buy it and forget about it. And I like look at the portfolio once a month when I'm adding some more dosh. I add dosh about once a month and I just leave it there and it stays there for years and you get dividends and whatnot in the account and that's all that really matters at the end of the day. So yep, gold is going against us at the moment. Gold is going up, but is going against us at the moment. So I'd like to see this candle in the next hour finish in exactly that pattern, that little cross, because that means it's going all the way back down again, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a big green candle here. I want to see that cross. That'll be perfect for me. That'll work out well. Now you see this is starting to fall back. So yeah, putting the stop loss at cost wasn't the worst thing. US 500 is falling back. There you go. Which means the FTSE is falling back. Who wanted to go long on the FTSE earlier? Was it Matthew? Or yeah, you wanted to go long. Look, guys, it's fallen back. Yeah, like I said to you, I'm just a little bit concerned at the moment about that. And this US 500, look, it's come through. It's gone through that little support, gone back, retest, short, down to the main support. Down here at the main support, I'll buy long. I'm actually not going to short the US 500. I'm going to look for a long trade down here. That's where I think will be better Nice long trade lower down. Oh, there goes the DAX as well. Man, is this head and shoulders going to play out? You never know, eh? You know what, guys? If the DAX breaks through this support here, this little support, the DAX breaks through here, we've got a beautiful head and shoulders. Got to go short, eh? If it breaks through here, we got to go short. There's a big short here. It'll be such a nice short. If it breaks through here, that'll be the perfect scenario, man. Then we're going to get a trade probably down to these levels down here. 184, 183 is going to be a big move, eh? Down to here. That'll be a lacquer trade. Just watch this. If this breaks through here, let's maybe just redraw this in and see if we can narrow it down a bit. Make it a little bit of a better, you're not going to get much of a better picture, but let's just see. Day. Oh, actually, we can narrow it down just a little bit up to here. Doesn't have to be that low. Yeah, this is going to be a lacquer trade, guys. Let me tell you. Look at that big head and shoulder. Oh, man, that's a trade and a half. DAX. There we go. That's a biggie. Okay, 4 hours. Yeah. Okay. So it just needs to break through here. So we're looking at, if it breaks through the 190, basically if it breaks through the 190, below 190, you're going to get a great short trade here. Let's put it on the funded trader account as well. DAX, Germany 30, US 30, Germany 30. Let's make a bigger thing here. Okay, let's just see what we get here. Remove all the drawings. Okay. Yeah, I was going to put it on this side as well, in case we happen to be looking here. Yeah, look at this. There she is. No. Can't argue with that. That's... Oh, sometimes it gets so difficult to draw these things on. Okay, 190. I want 190 because I think that's about where it's going to be. Somewhere up there. Okay. Now I'm just going to look for 190. That's going to be the trade. Okay. All right. DAX, definitely. Okay. We're going to look for 190. It goes through 190. We're going to get a short on that. That's for sure. Amazing how these funded trader accounts look slightly different to the main account. Okay. But that's fun. Yeah. This is, mess me around or what? I don't know. Really struggling with this little picture today. Let me do that. Let me do that. I'll tell you what, getting these things to work is like, ugh. Okay. Just a picture. That's your DAX. 190 is the level, I think. We'll get a decent trade out of that. That looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, right. There we go. Anybody else got any input there? Always interesting. We're very close to the 190 at the moment, so if it breaks through that 190, that's going to be pretty good, man. That's going to be pretty damn good. Lacquer. Good. So I wonder if the chap is here who asked about trades per week. He didn't ask. He's not here. Okay. Do a lot of you guys actually trade crypto, or Do you prefer to trade the Forex and indexes? I'm not a big crypto trader myself. I tend to stay on the indexes and the Forex. So it's an interesting week. And I noticed a lot of traders last week had a lot of problems. A lot of traders said they lost last week. Manila, Philippines. Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome. Good to have you on board. Wow, Philippines. So cool. Yeah, my daughter's going on honeymoon in the Philippines. Yo, very cool. Going for a jol there by you. Sweet. Yeah, that's a fun trip. So many islands there. Unbelievable. But a great place, the Philippines. Fantastic. Right, so invalidation. Yeah. So if we take this trade at 190, below 190, we can put our stop loss probably up here at the 193 just to be safe. Even 192 is not so bad. Probably, and is it going to break back through? We actually target 184, 183. It's going to be such a nice trade. Let's hope we get that. Well, there's a lot of guys out there that are long that are hoping we don't get that. But anyway. Good morning, Rob. Where can I get the rules for funded trader markets? I want to swing trade. Well, I'm swing trading and it's fine. So there's no problem. But the rules, boom. The rules are here. I think it's under frequently asked questions. If you go here, frequently asked questions, you'll get the rules from him here. There's the account rules here. Okay. I go to frequently asked questions. There's the account rules. There's all the rules. How long is it possible to keep my account inactive? What requirements must be met? Which trading platforms? What is the available leverage? Blah, blah, blah. What I found with these guys is I can leave my account open all weekend. I can leave the trades overnight. They don't tell me how to trade. I can, what can I say? I can take as many trades as I want in and out. But you do have drawdown rules and the daily drawdown rules, and you have the main drawdown rule that you have to follow. But further than that, it's fine. Don't have a problem. Actually quite relaxed, quite decent. If you take one of the, what do you call it, accounts? What do they call them? Instant funding accounts. That's a bit different. That is, they've got tighter rules on the instant funded accounts, but on these rules, the max drawdown overall is 6% and the daily drawdown is 4%. And you get one step nitro, two step speed, two step standard. Obviously, the accounts that are instantly funded are more expensive. Yeah, we had a $25,000 account, so no big deal. And it's in first phase still, so that's all right. And gold's not helping it win today, is it? That's actually hurting. Well, this is Germany, but anyway, gold's not helping it at all. Okay. Right, so, but eventually that will hopefully play out in our favor. Oh, we're still in this trade. Okay, right, let's see what happens there. We shall see what goes on there. Let's see if this one plays out or not. Euro, US dollar. Definitely still going short. That means the dollar is going up, doesn't it? There we go. There's the dollar starting to go up. If this goes up, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. see if we get anything on the gold. Aha. We shall see. Oh, Kokoro, if you want to get this, just click the link in the description. There's a link in the description for Funded Trader Markets if you want to go and get it. And just, they've always got some discounts on the go. 50% off on all evaluations at the moment. Code Black Friday. Okay, there's your code, Black Friday. And then just click the link in the description. Just use the code Black Friday. Cool. And you'll get 50% off. It's actually quite cool, actually. Not bad at all. If that's the way you want to go. I'm not a big fan of funded trading, as you know. I do have them on here, and these are the only guys that I'm working with. But in general, I prefer to trade with cash. But yeah, funded trader, it is what it is, and if you can get it right, that's fine. That's always good. But I took the funded trader on because in the beginning, lots of guys said we wouldn't be able to swing trade with funded trader accounts. So guess what I did? I went and looked for a funded trader account that could swing trade, and I found one. I found a funded trader account that could swing trade. Found a funded trader account that could work with our rules, that had a charting package that's relevant, like TradingView, and it works. It just works, and it's fine. You can't take 10 trades at a time. You can take maybe 3 or 4 if you want to stay in the game, but it's okay. It works. So what more do you want? They said it couldn't be done, but it can. You can find these accounts, and they do exist. So no stress, guys. No stress whatsoever. Okay, so as you know, this one I've taken the stop loss and put it in break even because just not happy holding index trades long. So whatever happens, that trade is free and the gold trade is doing bad. Bitcoin, I would like to see a trade come up there. Aussie dollar is now going short. As I said, it was still short. It's not going long, guys. It's going short. Going to continue on to the short side. Looks like it's going to carry on going down. The Nikkei, we were talking about the Nikkei. Oh, yeah, there we go. There's the big short. Okay. We did say earlier that the Nikkei is short because it's below. It's gone back up to retest the trend, what was trend support. It is now resistance. Gone up to test it. It's coming down. There she goes. She's coming down now. It looks like the Nikkei is going to do the short thing as well. Nikkei short. Okay, guys. Nikkei short. US 500. I think it's going to continue on short as well. I could be wrong. Market's 50-50. You never know. You just never know. Interesting to see what Nvidia does later, because that will make a big difference to the markets, eh? That'll make a huge difference. Yeah, hit the like button. As I say, hey, Bobby, that if you look at it, we've gone over 7,000 subscribers on this channel, which is amazing, eh? That's actually incredible. And we're heading for 10,000 now, hopefully. It's great. Now I'm seeing it as a challenge. It's a bit like trading. I'm seeing it as a challenge to get more and more, grow the channel. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's almost like trading. This is the members trade of the day today. Possible trades and all the ways the trades are working. I'll send this out to the members every day. This is the homepage for Funded Trader Markets. This is the trading platform that we're using for Funded Trader Markets. This is the inside of the Funded Trader Markets. And this is the TradingView charting that we use on a regular basis, which is handy. I actually do use MT5 a lot for the main account, but I just don't like to put the main account in public. Not my thing. I don't want anybody getting hold of that bank account number. If you don't mind. I mean, I see it so often. These guys pitch up from nowhere, start copying your stuff and all kinds of things. And so I keep it safe. I keep it in the background. I hope you guys don't mind, but that's the only way. I don't trust putting it out there in public. Awesome, Rob. Hello from New Zealand, up the All Blacks. You do realize that the Bockies won, eh? And we gave England one this weekend as well in the rugby. 29-20. Okay. Brent oil starting to fall back down, was bouncing back around support last week. Yes, Brent did fall down. And actually, what actually happened was I was long in the Brent trade before the weekend. And then at the weekend, I got out, small profit, got out, and it fell. And then now it's gone back up again. Looks like it wants to fall again. It was looking long, but there is a trend resistance here that could affect it one way or the other. But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. I haven't taken another long on it, as you can see, simply because I just don't think there's a long on it just yet because of this. There's a bearish trend to the downside. That structure hasn't broken. So I was actually rather waiting for a short trade off of that trend resistance. But yeah, okay, so now they're waiting for Trump's appointments. It's amazing what people will wait for in the markets. The news, if you hang your hat on the news, it'll drive you insane. Now people are waiting for Trump's appointments. I mean, goodness me. Is that now going to move the markets one way or the other? The market always settles back to where it needs to be, and the market trades on the movement of the money in the country, on each country. So there's money in the country. There's a fair value. There's an asset value to each and every country, and the money movements, the way the money moves in the country, into the market, out of the market, is what affects the market at the end of the day and the value of the market, not Trump's appointments or the actual interest rate or anything like that. That just balances things out. But the actual value of the markets in the country and the dollar and all the rest of it is very much based on the money flow and the money flowing around in the country. So at the end of the day, that's why you get these news events and things go crazy, and then it sort of settles back into place. And you think, how did that happen? Why does the markets do that? No, it's because people get excited and they start jumping around, and at the slightest drop of a hat on the news, people start jumping around and getting excited and whatnot. It's absolutely insane when you think about it. Totally crazy. But anyway, guys, I'm going to head off now. Going to be on my way. Going to go and do my thing. Hopefully the market's go in our favor and not against us. If you have any questions, don't forget to ask. Like I've said before, one of the big things I do is, I get questions in the comments that sometimes I can't answer in a comment because it's just too big an answer. So I'll say to you, look, drop into the live show if you can, and then I'll answer the questions there. And then sometimes I'll also try and answer the questions in the training videos that I put out. As you know, I put a training video out. I try and put one out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which without fail has been working quite well up till now. I try, but not every week, try and put out a video on the weekends that goes over the markets and that type of thing, but I can't guarantee that. But the training videos, I'll try and throw in your questions sometimes as well if there's something relevant. But as I say, if you have any relevant questions and I can't answer it immediately in the comments because it's just too big an answer, please feel free to join the live and just throw it into the chat and remind me if I've forgotten about it, and I'll go over it for you and we'll try and get to the bottom of it. But I'll also, like I say, try and put it in the training videos on the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as well, if it's a big question. Because sometimes I get questions that it's just really difficult to answer it in one comment, and often I get things that are repetitive. For example, the 50-50 game and that sort of stuff, which I'll rather cover in the shows. It's actually easier. Just a quick question to answer before I go is, hi Rob, are your trend support and resistance lines always drawn in a daily chart? And if not, what instance are they drawn on a lower time frame? And that is obviously, I prefer that my main resistance and my main support is drawn in on the daily, because that is a picture that I see for the week. I look at that picture and it's there. But I won't refrain from looking at a resistance on a lower time frame. So the way I'll look at it, what are we on here? Brent crude oil, for example, okay? So there's your main daily resistance, there's your main daily support. Obvious, okay? Now, what instance do I look at it on the lower time frame? Here we are on the 4-hour time frame where we are trading. Then I'll put my trend resistance in, just because it's there. And I'll also look at that resistance. You see there's a resistance there at 76. I'm looking at that and saying, oh, there's actually a resistance on the 4-hour there. Do I draw in? No, I don't need to, because I can see it clearly and it's always in front of me because it's on the 4-hour chart. The reason I draw these in on the daily chart is because I can't see them when I'm on my 4-hour chart and I'm going through a lot of different charts. So that's just there. So I don't necessarily draw the lines in, but if I wanted to, I would draw a line in here at the 76 level on the Brent, because there is a clear resistance level there. What it does is it just shows me that this is in a bearish trend on the 4-hour, and the entire product is obviously in a bearish trend. And what it says to me is, before you go long, think of going short, because it'll hit these areas. The risk to reward is better on a short, and you probably get a good short coming back from either the trend resistance or the main resistance on the 4-hour. And in that instance, I'm using the lower time frame to give me my resistance. But it's just at a glance. I'm not drawing it in. I can see it there. I know it's there. And that's what'll make my decision on a trade, let's say. But I put these levels in because these are main levels. So I know where my main levels are. And that's just to give me what my main trade will be, what my main level will be. And then I'll trade in between those levels based on the 4-hour, looking at that's a resistance, there's a supply, whatever the case. So that's the instance that I use the lower time frames to pick out those levels. Okay. Okay, so I haven't done any analysis on the Australian dollar CAD, and I'm moving on now. But guys, the US dollar CAD, as you can see, is going long again. It's coming on. It's taking on this demand level, and it's going to go long. If you want me to look at AUD CAD before I go quickly, I'll just quickly check it out and see if there's anything here. But yeah, there you go. It's in a bearish trend. If we take it to the day, it's in a bullish trend. The bullish trend is ending. Interestingly enough, guys, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar looks more bullish than bearish overall. And sorry, that's a month. I wanted to go to the week. I just look on the weekly candle. Okay, just look at this. Okay, this is the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, and it isn't a bullish trend. This is on the weekly, by the way. This isn't a bullish trend, but the last candle is showing me that it's going to be bearish this week. So the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar is going to be bearish this week because you've got this long tail below that and a short tail at the top and a big red body. That tells me that the next candle should be red. So as far as the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar goes, while it isn't a bullish trend, I expect it will go short this week. Let's just go back to the 4-hour. Just have a look on the 4-hour. And on the 4-hour, yeah, most likely you're going to get a short back down to this 90.5. Not far, around about 90.5. So it looks like it'll most likely stay in this short-term trend to the short side this week. And let's see what happens next week. Overall, the long-term trend is bullish, but I'm seeing a bearish scenario here. And you're probably going to get a short trade on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Just thought I'd throw that in before I go because you did ask. And that's just my feeling on the matter. Okay, so overall trend is bullish, but the weekly is showing me that it's probably going to go short this week. The 4-hour is showing me a short-term bearish trend. So Australian Canadian dollar, I would go short this week. Okay, guys, that's it till Thursday. I'm going to be on my way. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I thank you guys for being here. I'm going to head on my way. Don't forget, keep it simple. Assumption is the mother of all evil. The market will always lull you into a false sense of security. Enjoy your trading. Keep it on the winning side. And I'll see you guys on Thursday afternoon this side.